fame and attention from Avvai Shanmugi that I got as a 6-year-old was a little tough. As a kid, it was different. So by around 12, started getting heroine roles. So it scared family. So I hadn't seen Tamil movies too much because I didn't know Tamil. So no one really. We went to see only English movies.
Hello Annie, how are you?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice
I'm
to
doing
meet
well.
you. Actually, நாங்க குழந்தையில இருந்து like lot of kids, lot of us, all the 90s kids, we saw you like in movies, and it's so exciting to see you here.
Thank you.
And as an entrepreneur, especially, so nobody expected this change from you. So when did that happen?
Actually, I was in the workforce for more than 8 years. And I was always interested in entrepreneurship. I had a small stint in real estate.
Oh, okay.
Just after I finished college, 6-7 months after. So adukaprom I just got into the workforce. Life happened. So worked in advertising, marketing, and lastly I was in Amtech Systems, which is a software company. Maina in the government projects we used to do a lot. So appo pandrappo I had seen one thing about an app for talking about overflowing dustbins, illana open manholes. So we were trying to develop that, and we thought, okay, I'll do some research personally. So while doing that research I felt really bad. So naane source segregation veetla pannittu irundhen. So this was back in 2018, early by Jan-Feb itself, I knew that I wanted to learn more about this, or I was completely smitten. Since then I could only think about waste management and all the problems that are happening, the creative solutions irka, and it was a natural transition. But I had to save for it. 1.5 years I still had to work, save up some money, and then start.
That's there always. So even now, like after a lot of awareness, lot of people talking about it, we have very few people in Chennai who has some stores like this, like thrift or reusable ones. So you thought it like before, well, let's say 4-5 years back, you had that thought, and
actually 10 years back
10 years back
I used to sell on Facebook.
Okay.
Some of my friends were like models or actresses, and they used to have too many clothes, and I was like, okay, most people won't have access to things like this because they bought abroad or they're pretty expensive, and they know that there are thrift stores abroad, but the audience wasn't ready for it. I did it with a few of my close friends. Somehow we did few sales, some pop-ups, and like I said, I had to work. But I guess in a way it came back like 10 years later.
But even now I feel, since there are very, very less stores, it's a point of risk. Like somewhere it's a risky one.
It was a huge
What
risk.
made you take that risk?
So for me it was a calculated risk, if you see, because in 2018 itself I started small scale operations. I used to tell people, ungaloda old waste, old things, நீங்க வந்து கைலாங்கடல போடுற waste வந்து அது வேண்டாம். Everything else what is problematic, like shoes, suitcases, bags, you can't give everything to your house help or staff. So if it's like western wear, they won't even use it. So again it becomes waste only, and someone throws it away. So I thought, okay, na collect பண்றேன், அதுக்கப்புறம் பார்க்கலாம் what we can do with it. So we did lot of small experiments, worked with people like O Scrap Madras to try to see if to upcycle something. இல்லனா இந்த torn and stained வந்து அதான் landfill க்கு போகுது, what do we do with that? But I feel everything picked up after COVID. And during COVID I had a pop-up in a vegan cafe. So anga vandu ore oru rack irundhudu, only western wear, plus 2 drums for people to drop off their old clothes. That was doing really well for 6-7 months, and we had to hire someone and all of that. So we thought, okay, so this is what I call calculated risk. And in 2020 we also approached Nitya Menon, KL Rahul, Anirudh, Regina, Megha Akash, Raisa Wilson. So all of them were really kind to give an old outfit or item of theirs, and adu vandu auction pannom or first time Instagram auction la, and we were able to donate portion of the funds to Arpanam Trust, as well as அவங்க அந்த இன்ஸ்டாகிராம் ஆக்ஷன் பண்ணுறப்போ பேசினாங்க how much that item means to them and that there should be no stigma with second hand items. நம்ம back in the day we used to wear our siblings clothes or cousins clothes and we made it last. So yeah, and finally we got to do one auction with Karthi this year as well. Yeah,
so what can we expect in
the future?
Yeah, who are we expecting? Tell us some
give us
some hint.
We are hoping now that they will approach us
like that.
and tell us that, you know, hey, we are keen on doing something like this or being part of the solid waste management, source segregation. Idella we need people like celebrities, even celebrity in whatever, right? If you have a following, people are listening to you, they're watching your content, it would be nice that they take some action and, you know, post about the different things that happen. Because marketing da engalukku romba kashtam.
Correct. Yeah. Obviously வந்து if there was a kid in the films and yours was a very very big hit and adukapram they'll be casted in every film, they'll even create characters for that kid, you know, but why didn't you continue being on film?
So I did one more movie called Thayan Manikadi. Actually, and the full movie they had shot with Shamli and then they had to reshoot. So technically the roles were written for Jennifer and me as her sister. But as a kid it was different. So by around 12 started getting heroine roles, so it scared our family. And they were like, okay, ads it takes only 2-3 days maximum. But even serials are okay. I did 1, 2 or 3. But doing full-fledged movies, it takes a lot of, you know, effort from school, and so I stayed away from that. And also the fame and attention from Avvai shanmugi that I got as a 6-year-old was a little tough to deal with.
So do you know, like 6 years da irundirpinga appo, do you know like how huge is Kamal Hassan sir?
No. So I hadn't seen Tamil movies too much because I didn't know Tamil. So no one really, we went to see only English movies. You know, I used to watch Jackie Chan movies, and I really liked Rajini at that point. I think I had seen 1 or 2 movies. My first movie was Kadalan, that much I remember. And yeah, I didn't know he was such a huge star. And I think the first day we went for the audition in Rajkamal Studios, there was such a huge line of little girls like auditioning. I think it was supposed to be a boy before, and then they shifted to writing in a girl character. But I remember seeing that line and I was like, oh my god, what is happening? Because you go for auditions even as for ads to look tests and all of that, but you don't see that much crowd, at least not back in the day. So maybe that time it should have struck, but only after the movie came out I honestly figured.
And comparatively, appo irundha Kamal Hassan now he is like globally huge, right? So edha oru naal have you realized that, oh god, I have worked with him? Do you anywhere have that connect?
Okay, so I was a very perceptive kid itself, and I really enjoyed being on set because I had been on set with different ads, and you know how it works, you know what the DOP does, you know what the director does, you know everyone's roles. But in Avvai shanmugi, since it was also my first feature film, I could see that there was so much godlike mentality among Kamal itself. We had shot once the temple scene. There were so many people, you know, wanting to just get a glimpse of him. I guess in some sort of memory I'd realized that he was an enigma, if anything. Everyone was really disciplined around him. It was like no other set. If the call times were that time, everyone was there. They would show up. They would, you know, there was no room for error. And I think I noticed that even as a child. And I wouldn't say that he was a global phenomena now, but even that time I think the other film industries knew how big he is. So if you had to think of method acting or people who've put out great cinema or try to break boundaries or barriers, it has always been him in the south and the north. So
and recently you met Meena ma'am. So how was that meeting her after? Did you meet her by any chance?
So
in the
that
years?
entire year after Avvai Shanmugi, we get to meet a lot during the premiere and
Yeah.
award functions that happen
Yeah.
the year after. But definitely
Not after that.
not after that.
A city like Chennai, people still have that hesitation to get thrifted clothes. So, give me one good reason why people should opt for thrift materials.
So you find really unique pieces. Most of the things I steal.
Okay.
So you'll always kind of stand out. Maybe if you don't want to stand out, it's a bad idea. But you find some really interesting vintage pieces, and that aversion of using some other person's clothes, I feel it's very misconstrued. You go and try on clothes and then you pick it up. They don't launder it and put it back in an H&M. Some you know 50-60 people would have tried on
it.
that outfit. Here you get like laundered clothes. We take care of the material. We make sure that only the very good quality items come up to the store.
Okay.
And I feel like every thrift store does that.
Yeah.
It's not just us, because like you said, that apprehension is there.
Yeah.
So you should not give them a reason. So, and also shopping locally is one of the most sustainable things that you can do. And this is all generated here. If it's used here itself, lower carbon footprint if people care. Yeah.
I want you to pick one unique piece from your store and show to the audience that it's here. They can come get it. Some unique piece from your store. I would like to show audience this one. Adina,
So there's one more thing I'd like to cover.
Yeah,
This is not just a thrift store.
Ah.
It's also a sustainable store. We house about 20 brands that are by eco entrepreneurs, and they make something from either waste material or they're a local business that would want some retail space so that they can also sell from here. So we have holy waste and GSI Narumugai, which are waste flowers converted into dhoop sticks, O scrap madras, upcycling. I gave this introduction so I can like point to one of so we have a brand called the Artist Project. It's run by an architect, Abhinaya, and she this is her side project, so works with artisans who have lesser access to the digital space and selling. So she helps them to get their products, does pop-ups and events with them, and also has a page called Artist Project India. So that's one of my favorite items. These are hand painted.
hand painted. Okay.
Yeah.
So if we can come here, we'll definitely have a unique pick for our home or for us, right?
For sure.
So
for
can we
sure.
have a quick tour of the store?
Done.